contest number 2. Let's get into this one. This is one I really I never talk about this yet. So, Josh Keach has hit 200 subs. And if you know him, all that jazz, like and subscribe. So, his contest is really not music-based. It's mostly your hobbies and interests. Well, the problem is I kind of have a hobby called being a musician. But outside of that, there are things that I really do like and I really do enjoy. I'm going to start... first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about the movies that I tend to watch. Because the wife and I watch a lot of movies. We watch movies like this. Haunting. This is a Haunting in Connecticut. Based on true events, etc., etc. We're into the kind of paranormal stuff. It's just fun. I mean, some people are like, I don't believe it. I don't give a fuck if you don't believe it or not. It's cool to watch. It's trippy. It's fucking creepy. It can be a little scary depending on how you look at it. But even horror movies nowadays aren't even fucking scary. Like I would rather see more gore than anything. We watch a lot of stuff like I say, a lot of stuff like this, movies, documentaries, series. Unsolved Mysteries is a real big one that we've always been a huge fan of ever since we were young. The horror movie thing, we're into that. This is kind of the shit that we're into. This is her favorite movie villain, Michael Myers. This one I actually didn't mind. I didn't mind this. And there was another one that I didn't mind. The one that was just before this. And I can't remember what it's called. But that's okay. I like this because it was gory as fuck. And pretty much that's pretty much the main reason why I like it. Personally, I don't think Michael Myers is that great. I don't get his backstory, like, at all. I'm into the whole backstory thing, because when I get deep, like with Jason, we all know what Jason was. Jason was a mentally handicapped child who was left to go swimming in a lake, in Crystal Lake, and he basically drowned because the camp counselors were having sex. His mother went on a killing rampage, which is in the first two movie, mostly the first movie, because then, based on the supernatural part of it, hence her head got cut off, and then basically what it was is that it was thrown in the water. Her soul and spirit went into Jason, and he came back as a deranged fucking machete-wielding fucking psychopath. And hello, get me excited, let's go. This is the entire box set. Part 1, Part 2, Part 3, Part 4, which is called The Final Chapter. Part 5, which is A New Beginning. Part 6 is called Jason Lives. 7, which is The New Blood. 8, which is Jason Takes Manhattan, because I don't know. But there are, in both of these series, there are movies that are in there that we're just like, oh, why? But I mean, it's blood, guts, and gore. Fuck, it's killer. Another thing I'm into, I've been into this for many years, but I've been extremely fucking critical about this. That's the wrestling business. This dude here has always been the number one reason why I started watching wrestling and was so deep into it. It's fucking Undertaker, okay? Tombstone, it's called. The history of the Undertaker. There's a 3 DVD set in here. Obviously, that's from the early days, when he was, really sort of the bong, the walk very, very slow. And then, of course, you get into this era here where he's sort of he's still doing the Undertaker thing, but he slowly morphs into the biker gimmick. And then, of course, there's, the return to vintage. Let me spin this around. Basically the, fucking, the dead man, as they call Been a big fan of him. Big fan of The Rock. Big fan of Ric Flair, Jake the Snake Roberts. A lot of that stuff. So a lot of the older stuff, like the late '80s and into the early '90s, is where I really sort of enjoyed it. But my biggest thing, my biggest interest outside of music, always has been and always will be baseball and hockey. I have been a Blue Jays fan. Now, I don't actually have a whole lot of the Blue Jays. The only thing I really have is that Senti burner. That's legitimately all I have. I had a Blue Jays hat at one point. I had a shirt, but I'm way too fat for it now. So, you know. Obviously, as of last night, they decided to get their asses completely fucking handed to them. But that's besides the point. But when you cheer for a Toronto team, that's what happens. They cough up a lead, and that's just, yeah. So if you like sports, and you're like, oh, I live overseas, I might want to get into this ice hockey. Get the fuck away from the Leafs. Holy shit. If you want your heart broken, that's the way to do it. So yeah, talking about that, this is a sign that a buddy of mine made for me. I am a monstrous Maple Leafs fan. My heart's been broken since 2004. It's sort of a hard thing to get over. The most notorious has been 2013 when they had a 4-1 lead. And then they blew it and lost in Game 7 to Boston. Because it's what they do. And it's an unfortunate thing. But hockey and the Leafs have been my thing. I actually had a channel, another YouTube channel where I talked about hockey, mostly the Leafs. I mostly did like a video almost every night or every couple of nights where I would talk about signings and trades and all that sort of shit. But I got rid of it because I'd stopped posting for a while. Because it was like, oh man, how do people do this? Like, how do people fucking upload content all the time? I mean, you know, there are guys that I follow, like, there's a hockey podcast called the Steve Dangle Podcast, and I watch it religiously, and I'm like, how the fuck do these guys do this? Like, how do they take the time and shoot an upwards to from an hour and a half to almost 2 hours of content just talking about hockey? But again, that's what encapsulates their life. I mean, I could do one on music, but you know, I'll join a live stream here and there, and that's about as much fun as I can get. Because frankly, I mean, the problem with streams is you start it and then it stops. Like people start too many people talk at once. But when it comes to like the Dangle podcast, like they literally have a host. Adam Wilde is the host, and what his main job is it's to keep things on point, keep things rolling the correct way that they should be, and he does a great job. Other than that, it's mostly just spending time with the family, and that's mostly the reason why I haven't been doing a whole lot of fucking content. Because I've been doing this and doing that. Sometimes I just want to like on the weekends, I come home and I just want to fucking chill. I know the wife and I are going out next weekend to a friend of ours to watch the new Halloween movie. So I'm probably going to nitpick the fuck out of that because it's what I do. But I'm looking forward to it, seeing if it's good and gory. If it's not, well, then I'll criticize the fuck out of it. But, you know, of course, I'm still waiting for them to do a second part to the release that they put out of Jason there a few years ago, where it was like, it's like they rebooted the first 3 movies in one. It was good, but we'll see. Anyways, that's pretty much it. It's pretty much talk about your hobbies and stuff. One last thing I guess I will say is if you look up there and amongst all of the insanity, you'll see a couple of books. Because I do read, I just don't read a whole lot. Lemmy's book is up. Lemmy's book is up in the far right there. That's Lemmy's book, which is White Line Fever. Tony Iommi's is right beside it. AC/DC, which is Maximum Rock and Roll. Ozzy's book. And then you got Shut Up and Give Me the Mic, which is D. Snyder, which is right there. Apologies, oh my F. And then the book just next to it, That is Zach Wilde's Bringing Metal to the Children. All I did through that whole entire book was literally just fucking laugh. Holy shit, that guy is funny as fuck. There's a couple wrestling books up there. There's a Led Zeppelin book up there that I haven't yet read either. And I've gone through Rex Brown's book. And the other one is Rob Halford's Confession, but I've barely gotten into that because holy shit, that's a lot to take in. But anywho, guys, thank you so very much for watching. I hope you guys enjoy this. I'm recording this sort of in the evening. I gotta make a quick run down the road before everything's closed tomorrow for Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody in Canada. And yeah, I'll see you soon.